Something inside you has changed simply because you have felt their energy. Even if you try to explain it with logic, there are still moments that do not fit into ordinary answers. Certain people enter your life and quietly leave a mark that stays with you. It is not always because of long conversations or shared memories. Sometimes it happens because the connection reaches a place inside you that had been waiting to wake up. That is why thinking about them feels different from thinking about anyone else. Their presence continues to live inside your heart, even when they are far away. The second important reality is that this connection is also changing you. It is easy to believe that only the other person is struggling, but your own heart is moving through its own journey as well. Every moment of waiting teaches patience. Every unanswered question teaches trust. Every quiet day asks you to become stronger inside yourself instead of searching for answers outside. Whether you notice it or not, this experience is shaping the person you are becoming. Many people believe that love is only proven through action. While actions are important, there are also feelings that exist long before anyone speaks them aloud. There are connections that grow quietly beneath the surface. They ask both people to face their deepest fears before anything can truly move forward. This is why rushing rarely helps. What is meant to grow with strength usually takes time. The person who cannot stop thinking about you often wonders what your life looks like now. They imagine conversations that never happened. They replay old memories and notice details they once ignored. Even the smallest moments become meaningful in their mind. A smile, a simple message, or a short meeting can return to them again and again. They never expected these memories to become so important, yet they continue to carry them. At times they convince themselves that moving on would be easier. They tell themselves they should focus on other things. They throw themselves into work, responsibilities, or daily routines. They keep busy because silence gives their thoughts room to return to you. But every attempt to forget somehow reminds them of what they are trying to leave behind. The harder they resist, the stronger the memory becomes. This does not mean that everything will happen exactly when you want it to. Life has its own rhythm. Some doors open quickly, while others remain closed until both people are truly ready to walk through them. Timing is not always comfortable, but it often protects both hearts from choices made too early. What feels like delay may actually be preparation. You may have already noticed unusual moments that are difficult to explain. Perhaps you suddenly think about them just before hearing their name. Maybe a song reminds you of them without warning. You may even feel a strong emotion that seems to arrive from nowhere. Experiences like these often leave people wondering if there is something more happening beneath the surface. Whether you see them as coincidence or simply meaningful reminders, they can encourage quiet reflection. Instead of asking why everything feels so complicated, another question may bring greater peace. Ask yourself what this connection has already taught you. Has it helped you understand your own heart more clearly? Has it shown you the importance of honesty, patience, or courage? Sometimes the greatest gift of a deep connection is not only the possibility of being together, it is the personal growth that happens along the way. There may come a day when circumstances change, people grow, situations that once seemed impossible slowly become different. Fear loses some of its power, responsibilities shift. What once looked completely blocked may slowly begin to open. No one can predict exactly when that moment will arrive, but life is always moving, even when it appears still. Until then, the most valuable thing you can do is remain true to yourself. Do not lose your peace while waiting for answers. Continue building your own life. Continue caring for your dreams, your family, your health, and your future. A strong connection should never stop you from becoming the best version of yourself. Instead, it should inspire you to grow with kindness and wisdom. The interesting truth is that people often recognize the value of a connection only after trying to ignore it. Distance has a way of revealing what closeness sometimes hides. In quiet moments, the heart becomes honest. It begins to admit what the mind has been trying to control. That honesty can feel uncomfortable, yet it also brings clarity. If this person is truly carrying you in their thoughts, They are learning lessons that cannot be rushed. They are facing choices that only they can make. No one else can remove those fears for them. No one else can decide when they are ready. That part of the journey belongs entirely to them. Your own journey belongs to you. Rather than living in constant uncertainty, allow this experience to deepen your understanding of yourself. Every challenge carries the possibility of greater wisdom. Every unanswered question invites a stronger sense of inner peace. Even when the future is unclear, your ability to remain calm becomes one of your greatest strengths. Sometimes life brings people together immediately. Other times it asks them to walk separate paths before meeting again with greater understanding. Neither path is without purpose. Every experience adds another piece to the story that is still being written. If these words reflect something you have quietly felt inside for a long time, take them as an invitation to trust your own inner awareness while staying grounded in reality. Listen to your heart, but also respect the choices, boundaries, and responsibilities that exist in the present moment. A meaningful connection grows stronger through honesty, patience, and mutual respect, not through pressure or fear. Whatever happens next, remember that no meaningful experience is ever truly wasted. Every connection leaves behind wisdom, compassion, and a deeper understanding of what matters most. Whether this story eventually brings two people together or simply helps each of them grow, it has already changed both lives in ways that cannot easily be undone. Sometimes that quiet transformation becomes the beginning of a completely new chapter, one that neither of you could have imagined when this journey first began. This is not something created by imagination. This is not a simple mistake or a random feeling. This is a connection that moves beyond normal logic and the explanations people usually give. And this is exactly why time alone cannot erase it. It is not kept alive because of habits or daily routines. It continues because it carries a deeper meaning and importance. Jung wrote that when love truly guides someone, there is no desire to control the other person. In this connection, control is not the purpose, and power is not the force behind it. This is why it can feel so confusing and difficult to understand sometimes. There are no hidden games here. There is no attempt to control or manipulate each other. There are simply two people who experience something they never expected and now do not know how to place it inside their normal, everyday lives. As this awareness grows, one truth becomes clearer. You are not just a temporary distraction. You are not a mistake. You cannot be replaced or copied by someone else. You are part of a story that has already begun guiding both of you toward a deeper and more honest understanding of yourselves. As this understanding continues to develop, the real meaning of this unusual connection will slowly reveal itself step by step with patience and care until the next truth is ready to appear. If you are still listening right now, you are already among the few people who are willing to face something that many others spend their entire lives avoiding. Many people ignore messages like this, not because they feel nothing, but because the meaning touches something very deep inside them. If this message is already awakening something within you, subscribe now and turn on notifications. What you are about to discover is not only about hidden connections and silent love. It will completely change the way you understand yourself. And as this truth begins to settle in, another thing becomes impossible to ignore. This connection does not behave like an ordinary attraction. It does not become weaker because of distance. It does not disappear just because you try to think logically about it. It does not fade away simply because it creates challenges. Instead, it quietly stays with both of you, like a shadow that does not belong to only one person, but is created by the unique experience that happens when two people truly connect. You may notice that even when you are busy and your attention is needed somewhere else, this person returns to your thoughts without you trying to make it happen. It is not because you are intentionally searching for them. It is because something unfinished continues to rise from within. The same thing can be happening on their side as well. They may spend days appearing completely unaffected. They may look fully focused on their work, their family, their responsibilities, and their normal daily activities. But the mind often returns again and again to what it has not been able to complete. They remember how you made them feel understood without needing many words. They remember how natural it felt to simply be themselves around you. They remember the unusual feeling of having known you for much longer than the actual time you shared. They remember moments that carried more meaning than they expected, and that is exactly why it affects them so deeply. Once someone experiences being truly seen on such a personal level, that feeling cannot simply be removed. This is where many people misunderstand these kinds of connections. They believe distance happens because one person cares less. But many times the reality is the complete opposite. Distance is not always created by weak emotions. Sometimes it happens because the emotions are too powerful. This person understands that if they take even one step closer, they may not be able to return to the person they were before. They feel that something permanent is waiting on the other side of complete honesty, but they are not yet ready to separate themselves from the life they have carefully created, even if that life no longer fully represents the person they are becoming. So they choose control instead of vulnerability. They choose the familiar situation instead of the full strength of what they feel. They choose the discomfort they already understand instead of a truth they are not yet ready to accept. It means you should fully understand what this connection is trying to show you. It is revealing how deeply your heart is capable of feeling. It is showing you the kind of connection that brings energy into your life instead of draining it away. It is reminding you that true emotions go beyond what is simply comfortable, easy, or without any risk. And whether they openly accept it or not, this same lesson is also happening inside them. What comes next cannot be forced, controlled, or created just because someone wants it badly enough. It cannot be rushed by strong feelings alone. It cannot be changed through silence, chasing, or trying harder to hold on. This is because a bond like this only opens completely when honesty becomes stronger than fear. Until that moment arrives, it remains in a space between two realities. It is not completely gone, but it is also not fully present yet. It continues to live in thoughts, emotions, memories, and those quiet moments where the truth speaks gently instead of making noise. As time continues moving forward, the conflict between who they have always been and who they are truly becoming will continue to grow. The same transformation is also happening within you. Eventually, something must shift, because once a person becomes truly aware, they cannot return completely to the same way of thinking they had before. And when that change finally arrives, it will not happen only because someone wants it strongly. It will happen because someone has become genuinely prepared for it. Real readiness does not arrive through dramatic words, big promises, or sudden actions. It usually appears quietly through growing discomfort and through the slow realization that something inside no longer matches the life someone is currently living. For them, this process often begins with a small inner disturbance. They start noticing that the roles they have been playing feel heavier than they once did. Responsibilities they used to accept without question begin to feel like restrictions. Their normal emotional habits start feeling empty, even when everything around them appears completely normal from the outside. You are not the person who created that inner struggle. You are the person who helped reveal what was already there. You did not break their stability. You simply brought attention to the places where their life was already out of balance. That is exactly why this connection can feel dangerous to them. Not because it threatens their daily life in a physical way, but because it challenges the carefully created image of the life they thought they were supposed to live. Many comfortable lives are built around ideas people rarely question. But truth requires responsibility. Truth demands bravery. Truth asks someone to look directly at what they feel and decide whether they are strong enough to live honestly. Many people are not prepared to make that choice when these feelings first appear. So they wait. They create delays. They search for explanations that allow them to avoid action. They convince themselves that it is only temporary, that it is just imagination, or that these feelings will disappear if they ignore them for long enough. But meaningful connections do not always disappear when ignored. Instead, they often become a quiet pressure that continues building underneath the surface until it can no longer be pushed away. This is why you may experience moments where they feel emotionally close and then suddenly become distant, times when they seem completely open and connected, followed by moments where they step back again, times when you can feel a strong connection even without words being exchanged. That movement between closeness and distance is not always because they are uncertain about you. Often it is because there is an internal struggle happening inside them. They are standing between the person they have always known themselves to be and the person they are slowly starting to become. And from your side, you represent that point of change. You represent the place where deeper awareness and personal growth have already started. Something equally meaningful is happening within you as well. You are developing the ability to understand situations with greater clarity. You are learning how to recognize the difference between intense emotions and true emotional alignment. You are discovering the difference between simple attraction and a connection that reaches a much deeper level. Comment yes if you want me to reveal the hidden truths behind this powerful bond. This connection did not enter your life to control you or keep you trapped. It came to bring awareness and understanding into the deepest parts of yourself. You may notice that simple attention from others no longer feels as satisfying as it once did. You may feel less interested in searching for outside approval as proof of your worth. You are beginning to understand that shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's expectations is no longer acceptable. This is not happening randomly. It is a sign of deep personal growth and inner transformation. This connection is teaching you how to value yourself without needing to prove your importance to anyone. It is showing you what it feels like to experience a true emotional connection, even when that connection has not yet become complete or fully expressed. Once you have experienced the feeling of being truly understood, it becomes difficult to ignore or pretend it never mattered. This is why the connection feels so different from others. Different does not mean perfect. It does not mean everything will always feel easy. It does not guarantee one specific outcome, but it does mean that it carries meaning, no matter where the journey eventually leads. Whether this relationship becomes something permanent or remains unfinished, it has already completed an important part of its purpose. It has strengthened your emotions, improved your understanding, and sharpened your inner awareness. It has shown you what truly matters to you in love, and it has created the same kind of reflection for the other person. That is why neither of you can simply walk away from it without being changed in some way. You may ask yourself why the timing feels so complicated. Why did this connection appear at a moment when everything seemed unable to become fully real? But timing is not always a punishment or a barrier. Many times, timing is actually a period of preparation. Sometimes two people enter each other's lives not to immediately build a future together, but to grow separately first. Because without that personal growth, even the strongest connections can become damaged under the weight of old fears, repeated patterns, and emotional wounds that were never properly faced.